So there's this hard lesson that I learned in this last season of my life, which was to not take words as literal and to start really listening to language as a way of seducing and distracting and controlling and manipulating, which was kind of like a heartbreaking change for me because I think I was kind of pure and naive in that area of my life. And so I think all the circumstances that kind of came into my life in the past few years were to teach me in a very beautiful, challenging way. A lot of lessons end up being that way, right? And so I wanted to come and not bring this here as this like negative thing, but to encourage you to look at actions more than you look at words. And it's been very interesting to me how language is a tool that was really developed, and the science of it has been really used to manipulate the more feminine type of, or feminine components of the human being. We're very easily seduced by words. And I was in a relationship where even some things were literally said, like, as long as I tell you this, this, and this, I can do whatever I want. And I'd be like, that's awful. And I can't believe you would even say that. And then I would step back and be like, is there any truth to it? And look for the truth in that. And then you see it all over. And so I would encourage you to, especially on platforms like this, even with everything that I present, anybody that speaks, anything that's spoken to you, to look at the show in it and then have some component of you that says, okay, beautiful words, fantastic, lovely words. Show me. Show me. Show me with how you live. Show me with how you behave. Show me with how you react. Show me with who you are in real life. And oftentimes in a setting like this, you don't get that, right? Unless you run into somebody or know them personally or something like that. But I want you to have that in you that says, show me. Beautiful words. I'm not going to minimize them, but I'm also not going to drink them down as a truth. And I wished I would have had a little bit more of that in me. And a little bit of me, again, became a little bit sad because I feel like now when words are shared with me, there's a hesitation to receive them. And that's a level of wisdom and growth and healing that, is going to improve as I move through this, right? Because I also think there's a beauty to having that intelligence within you and the wisdom within you to know when a truth is being spoken and when somebody is speaking a truth to you, especially if it's a beautiful truth, especially if it is words of love, words of care, words of power and presence, that you receive them wholeheartedly. But more of what I'm talking about here is this other world that unfortunately exists and that's getting a little bit more prominent just because of how everything works. But to take words, and if they're beautiful, let them be beautiful, but always have this part of you that says, okay, match your actions with what is spoken before I drink it down. And to develop that wisdom within you. Because now as I move into a different season of life, again, I'm going to soften a little bit more, but it's really making me see things so much more clearly that I'm like, if I could have known this back then, and we can't do that, right? But it would have made things so much more simple, because the confusion and the trap that I found myself in, especially within a very specific relationship, was that words were spoken and actions didn't match. And when you have that confusion, right, that's when your entire nervous system and brain, everything tries to make sense of it. So if you're in a position like that or in any type of relationship, I would say to make sure you pay more attention to the actions than the words. And you don't let the words be a sweet, seductive carrot that's dangled to keep you in a place that's not meant for you. And then to have the wisdom to receive goodness when it is true and when it is real and when it is beautiful and when it is pure. Because we have to have both sides. We can't just harden our hearts and close off and never receive any goodness because somebody used it inappropriately before. The wisdom is knowing that both can exist and trusting yourself and that intuition and your heart to be able to decipher between the two. And then when words are empty, they're empty. And when something is true, receive it wholeheartedly, because that's a beautiful thing too. So I wanted to come and bring this idea to you today. I know that it's changed so much in me. I used to think that people said what they meant and meant what they said, and everybody had pure intentions for the most part, unless it was just overt. And then I had the harsh realization that sometimes the sweetest words are the most poisonous, and we have to look out for those too. So always have that in you that says, those are beautiful words, show me.